What if the plaque sitting in your arteries right now isn't just a passive buildup of grease and cholesterol like we've been told for decades? What if instead it is a living, breathing biological fortress constructed by bacteria to hide from your immune system? The science on this is absolutely changing the game, and we need to talk about it because it explains the deadly phenomenon known as residual risk. This is the terrifying reality where people do everything right. They have perfect cholesterol levels, they eat clean, they exercise, and their doctor gives them a clean bill of health, yet they still suffer massive sudden heart attacks. If clogged arteries were just about cholesterol, that shouldn't happen. But it happens every single day. Here is the truth that most standard checkups miss. We aren't just dealing with a plumbing problem. We aren't just talking about a pipe getting clogged with sludge. We are dealing with a chronic, low-grade infection that turns your arterial walls into a ticking time bomb, wired to explode the moment your body gets stressed. And the scariest part? The warning sign for this isn't usually in your chest. It's in your bathroom sink. Let me ask you, do your gums bleed when you floss? Even just a little bit of pink in the sink that you ignore or attribute to brushing too hard? We have been conditioned to think that is just a minor oral hygiene issue. It is not. That bleeding is a breach at the gate. It signifies that the barrier between your mouth, the dirtiest part of the human body, and your bloodstream has been broken. That breach allows oral bacteria to bypass your defenses, enter your circulation, and start laying the foundation for heart disease in a way that cholesterol medication simply cannot touch. So, if you have ever felt like you are fighting a losing battle with your heart health despite following all the rules, or if you have noticed that subtle sign in the mirror, pay close attention. We are about to dismantle the clogged pipe myth and look at the biology of what is actually living inside your artery walls. To fix this, we need to decode exactly what happens the moment those bacteria land in your arteries. We call this the Biofilm Survival Cycle. You see, when these specific bacteria enter your system, they don't just float around aimlessly like driftwood. They are smart. They bond together and secrete a sticky protective slime technically known as the EPS matrix. This slime acts like superglue, cementing them to the artery wall. Once they are glued down, they do something truly devious. They hijack your body's own calcium resources. They pull calcium out of your bloodstream to build a hard, calcified shell around themselves. We often look at calcification in the arteries and think it is just a sign of aging, like a rusty pipe. It isn't. That calcium shell is a calculated military bunker built by bugs to survive your immune cells and resist antibiotics. To truly understand why this matters, I want you to visualize two very different things: a grease stain and a barnacle. The old medical paradigm taught us that plaque is like a grease stain on a dinner plate. If you have a greasy plate, you can just wipe it off, right? That is the traditional view of cholesterol, a soft, fatty deposit that we try to scrub away with drugs. But the reality of a biofilm is entirely different. Imagine the hull of a ship covered in barnacles. Barnacles aren't soft. They are hard, sharp, and chemically cemented onto the surface. You can't just wipe a barnacle off, it becomes part of the ship. This is what is happening inside you. The artery wall physically transforms from a smooth, flexible pink tube into a rigid, white, rock-like pipe. And here is the scary part. Inside those barnacles, inside those hard calcium shells, red bacterial colonies are swarming. They are thriving, protected by that white crust, completely invisible to your white blood cells, which are patrolling the blood right past them, unaware of the enemy hiding in the bunker. This is why the standard approach often fails. The fake solution is trying to scrub the artery using only statins or blood thinners. Those treatments manage the fluid flowing through the pipe, but they do not touch the fortress built into the wall. You cannot treat a fortified bunker by just changing the water pressure. The real solution requires dismantling the bunker itself. We have to dissolve that slime matrix and cut the communication lines between the bacteria so the wall can actually heal. So, how do we actually fight back? The guiding principle here is simple. Don't just lower the cholesterol, you have to dismantle the fortress. We need to degrade that protective matrix and stop the bacteria from reinforcing their walls. Here is the 3-step blueprint to make that happen. First, you need the breaker, which is vitamin C, but not just for a cold. In this context, sufficient vitamin C acts as a solvent for that sticky EPS matrix we talked about. It creates a very specific, localized oxidative stress that essentially dissolves the glue holding the bacterial city together. If you strip away the glue, the fortress loses its structural integrity. Second, we need the silencer. This is where garlic comes in, specifically crushed raw garlic or a stabilized allicin extract. The magic ingredient here, allicin, acts as a biological signal jammer. Scientists call this a quorum-sensing inhibitor. Think of it this way: the bacteria in your arteries are constantly talking to each other, coordinating repairs and defenses. Allicin cuts those communication lines. It jams their radar so they can't coordinate a defense or repair the wall once the vitamin C starts breaking it down. Third, we need the terrain manager. This is vitamin K2. Specifically the MK7 form found in fermented foods like natto. Remember how the bacteria hijack calcium to build their shell? Vitamin K2 activates proteins that strictly regulate where calcium goes. It acts like a traffic cop that stops calcium from being used as mortar for the bacterial wall and redirects it into your bones where it actually belongs. You starve the enemy of their building supplies. And finally, I have a specific tool tip for you that starts in your bathroom. I want you to stop using antibacterial mouthwash immediately. Most commercial mouthwashes are like nuking a city to catch a burglar. They kill the bad bugs, but they also kill the good microbes that regulate your blood pressure. Instead, switch to oil pulling. Take a tablespoon of coconut or sesame oil and swish it in your mouth for 15 minutes. This acts like a magnet. It mechanically traps the bad bacteria in the oil so you can spit them out without destroying the delicate balance of your oral microbiome. Now, before you run out and change your entire routine, we need a serious reality check, because there is a dangerous trap people fall into once they learn about this bacterial connection. The biggest myth is the idea that you should just sterilize your body to save your heart. I hear people say, if it's an infection, why doesn't my doctor just put me on a heavy round of antibiotics to kill it all? Here is the truth. That approach is a disaster waiting to happen. Antibiotics are like a nuclear bomb. They don't distinguish between friend and foe. If you nuke your system, you cause dysbiosis. You kill the good gut bacteria that keep your immune system stable, which can actually make your gut leaky. A leaky gut floods your bloodstream with even more toxins and inflammation, which is the exact opposite of what we want. You don't need a nuclear bomb, you need targeted disruption. You need the nutritional precision of things like garlic and specific vitamins to dismantle the enemy without destroying the terrain. However, I have a critical medical warning that you cannot ignore. If you are currently taking a blood thinner like warfarin or Coumadin, you must consult your doctor before you add vitamin K2 or high-dose garlic to your regimen. This is not a suggestion, it is a safety requirement. Vitamin K2 can actually block the effect of certain blood thinners, rendering them useless, while high doses of garlic can amplify the blood thinning effect, increasing your risk of bleeding. This combination can be incredibly effective for the average person, but it can be dangerous if you are on specific medication without medical supervision. Please play it smart and keep your doctor in the loop. Ultimately, this science should not scare you. It should liberate you. For too long, we have felt helpless, thinking that heart disease is just the inevitable result of getting older or having bad genes. But now you know the truth. You are not a victim of passive aging. You now see the plaque for exactly what it is, a biological defense mechanism, a living fortress. And because it is living, it can be managed. By taking control of your oral health and actively dismantling that biofilm, you are doing something far more powerful than just taking a pill. You are actively reclaiming the structural integrity of your heart. You are taking the bunker apart brick by brick. So here is your challenge for the next 24 hours. I want you to go into your bathroom and find that bottle of harsh antibacterial mouthwash. Throw it away. Replace it with a simple glass of salt water or commit to trying oil pulling tomorrow morning. It is a small step, but it signals a massive shift in how you treat your body. And I want to leave you with one final question, because this puzzle has one more piece. Did you know that stress physically releases iron into your system, and that iron acts like a wake-up call that activates these sleeping bacteria? It literally feeds the infection. So tell me in the comments below, what is your biggest daily stress trigger? Is it work, traffic, or something else? Let's talk about turning it off, because calming your mind might just be the best antibiotic you can take.